Thanks so much for being with us here on Atlanta News First Plus. I'm Joy Limnacker, and just want to let everyone know, we continue following the latest developments here with numerous co-defendants surrendering in the massive Georgia indictment related to alleged election interference. So 6 of the 19 co-defendants have now surrendered. Again, there are 19 co-defendants who are facing RICO charges, among other charges, in this case. And 2 of the defendants were among the 16 alternate electors who signed documents saying that Donald Trump won the 2020 presidential election in Georgia when actually Joe Biden had won. And then one of the defendants, David Schaefer, he has actually been on social media posting sort of a mugshot of himself, but a 6th Trump co-defendant charged in the Georgia election interference indictment has now surrendered. The latest to turn in is actually Kenneth Cheesebro. We've also learned that Ray Smith has surrendered as well. Now, as for David Schaefer, many of you likely know him. He was booked into the Fulton County Jail overnight. He is the former chairman of the Georgia Republican Party. He oversaw the meeting of the 16 GOP electors at the state capitol. Also, Kathy Latham turned herself in overnight. She, too, accused of being a fake elector. According to the indictment, she took part in an alleged data breach of election information in Coffee County. Just pulling up our Trump investigation tab so that you can see the latest on this, because there's so much. You can see these stories on the various co-defendants surrendering. It's something that we've been following very closely. This news just keeps popping and changing minute by minute. We constantly are having new developments. You can see here on our website the mugshots of Scott Hall and John Eastman as well, right? So it's something that it's hard to keep track of all the updates. That's why we kind of keep coming up here and encouraging you to download our Atlanta News First app. That way you can get all the updates sent to your phone, because you look at these 2 individuals. So John Eastman is a former Trump attorney, and the other one, Scott Hall, is an Atlanta bail bondsman, and they were the first to be booked and to be released. Let me show you David Schaefer. So as for David Schaefer, we've learned that he's actually asking a federal judge to move the case to federal court. And just again, because there's a lot of moving parts here, David Schaefer was booked into the Fulton County Jail overnight. Again, he is the former chairman of the Republican Party here in Georgia, oversaw the meeting of 16 GOP electors at the state capitol. So, we're just following these latest developments. But the big news that we are watching out for today, Rudy Giuliani, a former federal prosecutor, former New York City mayor, former attorney for Mr. Trump, stopped and spoke with reporters outside his apartment as he prepares actually to come to Atlanta to meet with the Fulton County District Attorney's Office and then report to jail at some point today. That is what is anticipated. Some media outlets are reporting that he's having trouble finding a Georgia-based attorney. His political advisor is disputing that, but we're going to keep an eye on that. And just a reminder, tomorrow, Thursday, is the day that the former president is expected to turn himself in. Obviously, a lot of eyes on that. I should let you know that 8 Republican presidential hopefuls are going to be taking the stage in Wisconsin for the party's first 2024 primary debate tonight, but the former president has already said he's not going to be there. That's a decision that some of his opponents are already using as ammunition against him, along with these criminal cases, such as Chris Christie. Let's listen.
And this is a tragedy for our country to be going through this. But I want the country to understand, he did it. He did it to us. When he says something like, I'm getting indicted for you, baloney. He's getting indicted because of his conduct.
Now, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is Trump's closest competitor in the latest CBS News polls, but he trails Trump by more than 40 points among Republicans surveyed. Again, Mr. Trump continuing to lead in the polls. So, a lot of moving parts here. We're going to follow the latest. Listen, I'm about to hand it over to meteorologist Rodney Harris with a look at the weather forecast. I do want to let everyone know, just speaking of the weather, and people are dressed for the weather. You're probably wearing tank tops and shorts and things like that. Just want to let everybody know about a mosquito-borne illness that officials are warning everyone about right now. So health officials say just protect yourself from mosquitoes. 2 cases of eastern equine encephalitis have now been reported in Alabama, including 1 death. The virus has also been detected in horses in New York, but so far no human cases have been reported there in that state. But EEE can be very serious. About 30% of people who are infected do die from it. People older than 50 and younger than 15 are most at risk. CDC says wearing bug spray and clothes that cover your skin are really critical preventions against mosquito bites and potentially this illness as well. So just keep that in mind. Okay, let's take a look at the forecast now. It is dangerously hot this week, right? Meteorologist Rodney Harris, people got to be careful.
Yes, they do indeed. I'm going to start with the tropics because that is also on a lot of people's minds. So we have tropical depression hurled. That's really dissipated, so that's no longer a tropical cyclone. It was last centered over northern Mexico. You can still see, even though it's not a tropical cyclone anymore, it's still producing rain in West Texas, but that's coming to an end, and our attention is starting to shift to Tropical Storm Franklin, which is making landfall as we speak in the Dominican Republic. Those deeper reds that you see on the satellite imagery, that indicates very heavy rain that is currently impacting the Dominican Republic and parts of Haiti. So Franklin is making landfall as a tropical storm. Franklin will move over the Dominican Republic, moving due north basically, and eventually reemerge over the western Atlantic, where Franklin is expected to become the second hurricane of the season by this weekend. At this point, it does not look like it will impact the U.S. or us in North Georgia, but the tropics is something we'll continue to keep you up to date on because we are in the heart of hurricane season, which typically peaks at the beginning of September. So, interesting. Today, our low was 82 degrees in Atlanta. The normal is 71. The record low temperature in Atlanta, the warmest low temperature in Atlanta, was 82 degrees back in 2007. And today, with our low only being 82, that tied for the record warmest low we have seen in Atlanta. So that gives you perspective of how warm it was today. It's not often that our temperature fails to drop below 80 degrees in Atlanta, but that happened today. So this afternoon, we'll get up to 95 degrees. We upped the temperature just a little bit today. We do have a northeasterly wind, which will make it feel a little bit better today compared to the past several days. So we dropped the first alert for today and tomorrow. By the weekend, though, the first alert is back, particularly on Friday and Saturday with 100 degrees expected both days. So it'll be super hot. As we get into Sunday, though, the high pressure that's producing our heat will start to break down. So our temperatures will moderate going into next week, 95 on Sunday, 88 by Tuesday. That same high pressure, once it breaks down, that will also allow for rain to come back into the forecast. That high sort of acts like a shield, preventing rain from developing, which is why it's been so dry this week. And it'll stay mostly dry throughout the week. But once that high pressure breaks down, we'll add a slight chance of rain every day to the forecast, similar to what we've seen all summer long. That'll start Sunday and continue until the beginning of next week. So today is not a first alert, but we do have a first alert that will start again for that extreme heat on Friday. And first alert Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Valdez will have more on your updated forecast on Atlanta News First at noon. Until next time, I hope you guys have a great Wednesday, and we'll see you soon.